Okay, let's see. Are we going? G'day everybody, we are live. We're just going to see if we can get ourselves a thumbnail. To this one. Okay, there we go. There we go. We are live. Okay, crew. So let's see. Hopefully everybody's doing well today. And we just discovered how to put up a thumbnail. Learning stuff every day for the old YouTube. Thought we'd have a bit of a chat about Supercoach. It's Shauno here again. And let's see. Basically, the trades this week are a little bit interesting, so I thought we'd have a bit of a chat about it. We're doing this as Thursday morning, so the Thursday night teams have come out, but not the rest of the weekend. We can have a quick look at tonight's teams if we'd like. Okay, so Freo versus Collingwood, and we got... So there is one interesting thing here. So Erasmus is getting a run. Now this is good and bad. We'll go into that in a little bit more. We'll come back to him. Patrick Voss, Cooper Simpson back, and Hayden Young out, which might have a little bit of a bearing on what we're going to talk about. In for Collingwood, we got Howe, Edward Allen, Lachlan Sullivan, and Markov. Out Maynard, De Goey, Brody, and Scott Pendlebury. They that seems like some big names to be out. I kind of assume they must be injured, right? I wouldn't think you'd be dropping any of those guys if they weren't injured. So it's a bit of it's a lot of good names for Collingwood being dropped out. Now, you'd say that would give Fremantle a chance and at home, but how dismally they played last week, you don't really know. Hey, Mikey, how you going, buddy? How are you, mate? How you going today? Thank you for joining, buddy, and thanks for saying g'day in chat. We're just chilling and talking about some Supercoach. I hope your team is going well, buddy. We just jumped on. Gonna have, I think... I'm a little bit more decided. Last week at this time, I had no idea what I was doing with my trades. This week, we kind of know. We just want to have a think about it. As usual, we kind of know what we're doing on Monday, and then we change our tune a million times, and now we're still thinking about changing our tune again here this morning. In here, so the relevance was Neil Erasmus, right? Named to play. I believe he's on his... this is his bubble week. He is the bubble boy this week. Got a negative 51 break even. He's got a 41 and an 80. And he's been smashing it in the waffle, apparently, like getting 30 possessions every week and going crazy. So in some ways, as a downgrade, because we're a bit short of downgrades this week, on the bubble anyway, I like it as a downgrade, but at the same time, I don't think he's got great job security. The problem is that Nathan O'Driscoll was due to come back. He was up as a test for this week, and he hasn't been named, and Erasmus has. Starting to look stacked. I still think I've got a few too many rookies on the field, buddy, but it is looking good, and we've had a couple of good scores in a row, so we really jumped up the rankings this week, which was nice. And if we could get a few more good scores in the row, that'd be good. A lot of this a lot of the reason I had a really good round compared to most last week is because of the Gawn captaincy. That really helped. I still look at a lot of other good teams and I feel they have an extra rookie off the field than I do. But, you know, we deal with what we deal with. We paid a bit too much for some of these big boys in the back line, and, you know, we're going to have to deal with that. Anyway, back to our friend Erasmus, if that's how you call him. Maybe we should just call him Neil instead of destroying his last name. Really worried that if Nod comes back next week, he'll be straight back out. So it's only 1 week. Now, I love the fact that he's killing it in the twos, and if he could come out, smash 30 possessions, you know, you might have to get him. How much would that cost us if that happens? If he comes out and destroys it, so he's a bargain basement price. So also I'd be very much a little bit worried about him being the sub. I'd be definitely waiting until he is named. I'd be waiting to see if he is named on the field and not as the sub. If we look at the Freo team tonight looks pretty stacked to me. Like on the bench, they've got Voss, Reid, Chapman, Erasmus, or Cooper Simpson. So I could only see him or Simpson. They're the only two who are going to be the sub, I would say. I mean, Heath Chapman maybe, potentially. I don't think Murphy Reid's going to be the sub, and I'm pretty sure guarantee that Patrick Voss is not going to be the sub. So it's one of these three boys that's going to be the sub. And I'd say one of these three boys is probably going to be likely to be the sub to be taken off if they're not doing well. So I don't mind the pick, but I'd be very worried. I definitely wouldn't be doing it before the team sheets. And I'd be keeping an eye. I'd be a bit worried about next week as well. So I'm not going to go there. We went... so far, this is what we've done. We went Huswaite and Chad Warner in, and Bice and Reid out. Now, to make this happen, I've only really got the choice out of getting rid of Bice or Flynn. And we can undo the changes and we'll go through and do them again. I'll show you my train of thought. Could be a bit scary getting inside my head, but we'll see how we go, Mikey. All right, this is how the team looked at the beginning of this week. Now we have to get rid of Murphy Reid, right? He's just got a too high break even. His break even's 92. We've already lost we lost 15 grand last week, and we lost a few grand the week before. So down about 16 on his peak, and he's only going to drop further. So we just need to get him. We know we're getting Huswaite, so we might as well just drop him for Huswaite. That's the one that's 100% happening. We're not turning that around. Unless for some miracle Huswaite was dropped or something. When I'm typing it in chat. Chat's not going to allow me to select it. How's your team going, Mikey? Where are you placed in the world? You up the ranks there, or you having a good season? So that's the one trade that's definitely happening. That leaves us 217k in the bank. So unfortunately, none of these cheaper rookies, the Warners and the Kakos of all, they can't get me up to the cheapest priced person that I want is Chad Warner. Now we're going to have a little bit of a talk about someone else in a second that I'm being very tempted by. So say, all right, we need Chad Warner, and so our back line, it doesn't look complete here, but it kind of is complete because we've got Sheasel and Sinclair here in the midfield. So if we trade out Bice, who the reason we're trading him out, his break even 70. Now he could well and truly beat that. That's this score that he's got here, this 49, is his lowest score. Still, yeah, never give up, Mikey. You play to the end. It's you just got to keep on going. 20,000 is not that bad. I mean, because there's 180,000 people, in the comp. I've had plenty of years where I've just had a shit start or whatever, and I've been down at that number. So, I mean, it happens. You can definitely, if you make a few good decisions, you can definitely move up. It is hard to obviously strike for the top. I think I'm just about in striking distance. I would need if I can continue to increase my rank every week, and by the time the buys came, be like top 1,000, I could have a chance. It's still a little bit rough for me. I'm still, there's not many points behind. I mean, how many points are we exactly behind the leader? So the leader has 17,968. 17,968, and we're at 17,311. So 600, almost 700 difference. That's quite a lot to catch up. 700. It's not a huge amount, but when unless your teams are very different, or you got to basically be smashing your captain scores. He's got to be failing on his captain scores, and I'm going to have to be smashing mine. 2 more Gorn captains, that's right. And for him not to have Gorn, which we might talk about in just a second, because I do have, if I was going to make a real push to try and gain, try and move up the ranks, I have a few risky moves I could pull this week. So safe moves though are, I think, I want Chad Warner in the team. He is at a really good price. He might not be the most consistent out of everybody, but he's got that high ceiling. So, I think he's got a higher ceiling than Bias, that's for sure. Bias has been extremely steady, but he's made the money now. We could keep him and be fairly... If I didn't have either of these two guys, I might keep him. But considering I've got these two guys, Reed and Trainer, they're both, very low break evens. They're definitely going to make money. For Bias to make money, again, he's going to have to kick that score out, and then we'd have to wait. Like, if he gets 88 this week, he makes 7k. If he gets 88 the week after, he breaks even, and it wouldn't be to the week after that he started going up. But if he kept on getting 88s, which are good scores, he would have to be keeping going on like really well. They're saying he would max out at about, they're saying he could get to as high as 450, but you're not holding him to round 20. At the best, you would hold him to his buy, which is this is one. So if you got 88 every week, 420, that's another, 45k. So that would be good, but you got to wait a while. So I think, and the only reason, so the other one was Flynn, right? But if you look at the, Flynn has a break even of 68, Bice has a 71. So they're actually very similar. I thought he was a little bit lower, only the 3 lower. So Flynn is blocking up my team there, but let's just do Bice for the moment, because we can shoot a Sinclair or someone back there. And then we can get our friend Mr. Chad Warner, who got right at the top there with 140 last week. So there we would go. There we go. We got another one of our midfield defender DPPs back in the back line. We've only got that spot to go. I'm thinking probably a little bit against the grain that a lot of people are they're just going to try and get the top 8 midfielders in here, which is probably a smart thing to do. But I'm probably going to have one of these DPPs back and forward, and one DPP for the forward mids, like a Warner and so we got Sheasel here already. a Sheasel and a Petrarca, just like this. When my team gets to complete, I would like to have one of each of those just for maximum flexibility. And then if it comes to the last, few weeks or my finals for my leagues, which I take very seriously, then I have maximum flexibility for injuries and if things go wrong. Usually every year I try and do that. I'm not too sure if it's as necessary this year with the flex, unless your flex is, all blocked up with a ruck like mine is here, then it's probably going to be necessary. But if this isn't a ruck, I think my defence is actually, yeah. So if I do move Sheasel back, Mikey, then I would need one more, either a straight-up defender or a DPP. I like Clark, but he doesn't have the ceiling that I want. So he's super Mr. Consistent, but I think if I want to gain on other people score-wise, I need someone who can smash out a 160 or a 70, even if he's not going to do that every game. So I don't know if Clark is the man I am looking for. It might be the value game if he comes down cheap enough. I mean, if he, for some reason, he finds himself under 500k, it just might be one that you just might have to grab, right? Because I've already got the big boys. I've already got Whitfield. I've already got Sinclair. I've already got Zorko. If we have a look, defenders. So it's kind of complete, so I don't have to worry about my defenders at the moment because I can always move Sheasel back. I'm more worried about getting the midfielders in. Now getting the fallen primo midfielders and getting the fallen and getting the trying to get Butters and Bont in at some point like everybody else. But if I had the choice out of anyone for my defense, I mean, got Whitfield, Lockie Ash. He's having a great season, but this is the first season he had a great season. So I think I want to go for a proven performer. Nasaya, I think, is a bit like Clark. He is a very consistent 100 to 110, 90 to 120 player every week. Sinclair I have, Sheasel I have, Zorko I have. I've got Dale, hopefully he's okay. Roberts, I mean, Max Holmes here is also very... So if I had to pick one here, the only ones I'm really looking at, which I think I like Jordan Clark. And at this point, he could go down. If he goes down to 450, I think you might have to grab him, hey, Mikey? I mean, that's pretty damn cheap. But also Max Holmes is at 496, and this is cheap too. And I think he has a slightly higher ceiling, but he's more likely to be tagged. So, this is the first score I think Jordan Clark's had under about a 95 in the entire season. So, I think you probably hit it on the head. It's one of those boys. I'm not really thinking about anybody else. If I want to get one more, it would be... Obviously, it's got the flexibility of the Max Holmes if you had to defend the mid and a slightly higher ceiling. He's had some big scores, I believe. He's also had a few stinkers. I mean, he's got a 125, 91, 127, 72, 147. So that's his ceiling at the moment. 80, 70, 94, and his floor has been a 70, couple of 70s. An 80. I mean, if he's getting 80, 90, 70 when he's tagged, that's still pretty good. But yeah, they're the two I would be looking at. And if I wanted a smoky, if I wanted to be, maybe to do, a bit of point of difference. I mean, Rory Laird, Josh Dacos, they're ones that certainly wouldn't be going with the pack. What do they own? Laird's only owned by 1%. Josh Dacos is 3.4%. I mean, as opposed Max Holmes 31%. So that's certainly not a pot if you're going there. and Jordan Clark is 10%. So that's still under 10%. That's almost still a pod. So, but I'm not too worried about my back line at the moment. I feel like these two boys will stay until the bye rounds, until they'll help me through until I need to get rid of them. They've still got money to be made. I'm expecting $100,000 between the two of them. You know, if he's predicted to go 40 this week, he's predicted to go 20. They go, that's our 60 there. That's 65. And then the next week after, if they can do a 70s or something like that this week minimum, I should be at least $100,000 over a couple of weeks for the two of them. So the backs line is pretty sorted. That'll be the last spot I get, unless, I think unless someone jumps out at such good value, like if all of a sudden Jordan Clark or Max Holmes, it's at $450, it might be too cheap to ignore. And considering I'm trying to play the value game, that might be the way to go. I don't like them as much as some of these cheaper midfielders, like the Dunkleys and the Jordan Dawsons and stuff of the world, but I figure they're going up. Those other two boys we looked at are going down. The fallen primos at the moment, the midfield are heading back up. So anyway, we got the right Warner on the field. Better make sure, the one that cost a lot, not the wrong one. Can be a bit confusing if they both see Warners. So they're the two trades. Now, here's where, do I make a move? All right. So here's the discussion, which we didn't discuss too much. Like, there is a rookie, actually, that I missed on my trade video in defense. If people are looking at, I missed him completely in the video. He wasn't even on my radar, but after doing a bit of research into other people, watching a few other content creators' videos, there is the Fonty dude. Where is he? Fonty? It's a week early on him, right? This guy. So, he's a week early, so I'm not going on him. No, I had a feeling he was on the bubble, but he's not. It would be a week early. So, last week we didn't go a week early, and it paid off for us. Obviously, Huswaite would have been all right, but Bustlinger would have been a disaster. So, even though we thought Huswaite was going to be okay, we held. We saw another game. We've got to wait for the team sheets to come out tonight to make sure he's named again. Hopefully on the field, so we won't have any worries. This Riley Hardiman, I had a look at him. I wouldn't be going there. He just seems to be too expensive. At 190, I'd say this has got to be sub-affected, these two, right? You want to hope they are. And then 50 and 70. So he's going along okay, but I can't bring myself to go there. And this week, it's only really Huswaite. I think there's only really Huswaite. And, you've got Erasmus now. And we know Erasmus is playing, which is what made him irrelevant. Why isn't he showing here, the Freo boy? You don't think he's going to make very much money? Freo, the way to go. Oh, is it only defenders? We want everybody. We want everyone. There he is. So I would, if he was guaranteed to play for a few weeks, like Nod was still out for a few weeks or whatever, I'd snap him up. 30 possessions for the last couple of weeks in the waffle means that he might be ready to go bang, but you don't know where he's going to play. Is he going to play the wing? Is he going to play in the midfield? Is he going to jump straight into Jordan's spot? Or is someone else, like, one of the other fringe midfielders there at Fremantle going to jump into that spot? So I would love to get him. I'm just super afraid that he'll be dropped the week after. And I don't want dead rookies on my bench at this time of year. I think only really potential ones. So it's only really him and Huswaite that are on the potential bubble. If Sandy Brock is named for McGovern, when McGovern's out for concussion, don't get him. He's going to punish you. Don't get him. I mean, if Clay Hall or Tom Gross were named, you could pick them. Again, you never know. Yeah, see, that is a problem, Mikey. So I've got all the rookies of, this. I got two in him, which is on a slow burn. But I think Carroll, the way Carroll plays, he does get a bit of a run through the midfield. So if he has a decent game, he'll get a 60, and so he'll start going back up again. But yeah, so the Fonte, I might just have to skip on any of these back rookies for a couple of rounds. So Mikey, I'm looking at next week. My two targets are, I want to do a boost next week to try, and we will be going after Boxall and hopefully Will Lorenz. They're the two that I've got, two down. They got the mark of the two down on them next week for a one up. Lorenz seems to have that wing role, the Sam Davison role. I think he might be in for Travis Boak, so it really depends on when Travis Boak is coming back. I don't think, last time I looked on here, Western Bulldogs, he was listed as a test or last week, and now he's not on there, so I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, sorry, we're not looking at the Western Bulldogs. That's why he's not on there, because we're looking at the wrong team. Here we go. Travis Boak, back test. Veteran Boak would be a welcome return, but must pass the fitness test. So that's not as hopeful for Lorenz as we would hope for, because I kind of think that Boat comes in, he probably goes out. I don't know if he impressed them enough last week to keep his position. If he does, great. I'd still be a little bit worried about being the sub this week, so definitely wouldn't. I said in my trade video, he's the one that I'd be thinking about going early on, but I really wouldn't. I'd really steer away from it. I think you're really, in a really asking for trouble. He could be the sub, and he could just play 1 week and get dropped, and then you're not going to make any money. So hold off, wait till next week. Boxall's a bit the same. A lot of people are saying, a lot of the other content creators are saying they think he is the safer one. Now, this may be true, but I also have worries about him and the Philippou situation. Philippou was named last week, and then he was a late withdrawal. Now, we all liked Philippou in the pre-season. He was going to be a cheap forward line guy with DPP who plays in the midfield. The question is he still in the midfield? Does he come straight back and play the midfield? Does he come back and, take Boxall's position and chuck him to the bench or to the sub? I don't know enough there either he looks really good, and I hope he plays, because I hope they both play, because they're both in my targets for next week. If they both don't play, or there's an issue with either or one of them, we're going to have to make decisions. So this has happened a couple of times now. We've still got 3 trades in theory if we do that. But we went to boost, I think, once or twice, and then we had to back out because the rookies were either named subs or, Gross was one of them, I think, where we had activated a boost and we backed out of it to get him off the field. And there was one other. So we still got 3 boosts left, which makes me think, Mikey, I did a trade video where I really pushed Ned Long. I liked the research that Supercoach God did on his stream, and then on his videos, and then I did my own research, and I chickened out at the last moment for that same round, that round where I got out of Gross. I could have had Long instead of Gross, which would have been really good. I think he has been one of the better cheaper picks of the year. if you had the cojones to go with him, and I just chickened out the last second, which made I miss him. But I'm very happy with Marriage. Very happy I went with Marriage over Humphrey, even though Humphrey got that 150, a week or so ago. He's not going to do that very often. And 131, that's great. And it's a good watch. As an Eagles supporter, every time a point gets kicked, which seems to be every second if it's not a goal, he's taken that kick out. And it doesn't matter who else in the team. It doesn't matter when even if McGovern or whatever's in the team, he seems to be the main man in the kickouts. And there certainly are a lot of points and goals. Well, more points, I guess, is better kicked against the Eagles. And so that's the way to go. I think I'm going to try Dacos over Brayshaw for just with Freo's performance last week. Yes, they might bounce back, but I don't know. I'm just going to go Brayshaw, Dacos, just in case Collingwood smash Freo. Freo can be a bit up and down. So, I would be first if I had to do long. I don't know if it'd be first, but it certainly would be a position that I didn't have to worry about, as in a rookie. I'd have one less rookie off the field. I wouldn't be playing a Lindsay or someone on the field. By the way, I think Hustwaite I'm playing Hustwaite over Lindsay on the field this week, and I think out of these ones, Lindsay could get back to a 75 or something, but I just think Hustwaite has got a better chance of getting a decent score. So I'm going to play him on the field over Lindsay and make Lindsay my sub. Vice captain. Can't do any swapping around here. And then here we can... I don't think we can do anything, actually. Would need... I don't think we can do anything in the early games here as well. Sydney play Essendon, so we can't get Kako. We can't get another Sydney. We can have a look at Lindsay. Yep. So we can do this. If Lindsay plays and gets a good score, Lindsay play Hawthorn, we could always swap out Hewitt. If Lindsay has a really good game, then we can put in Hewitt. So we'll do that. But here's where the big thing goes, Mikey. I don't know if you're going to think I'm crazy. I might use the boost and get rid of one or two. These are big moves, right? These are big moves. So I'm thinking one or two things. They're both a little bit crazy. Craziness number one. I think this is the craziest out of the two. If we're going to go crazy, I think this is crazy out of two. This is straight up to try and improve my rank. This is not being conservative. This is not saving trades. This is swinging for the fences. This is like, hey, what do we say? That number one is 600 to 700 points ahead of me. I need to be gaining, 100 points on him every round. Means I need a players who can do that. So one would be, we've got 105k in the bank. One would be just do a pure luxury crazy trade, which is to get rid of Tagoning and just to get Cherry. Now, if we did this, the team looks awesome, right? I mean, the pros and the cons. All right, the pros are we've now got what I regard as the top two ruckmen of the year locked in. And Cherry's only going to go... I don't think he's coming down to the 590 again. Let's be honest. His break-even's at 65. Okay, he started the season at 640, which is, 15k more than it is now. Now, he had to get in. He was injured, and he got an 89, a 94, and an 83. So that brought it way down to 560, 550. Wish we had grabbed him then. Now, obviously, he's come and smashed a 140, a 150, and a 146. And we'll say his other non-injured ones are 136 or 122. Let's just take these three out completely. Is he scoring that much more than De Koning. Not really if you do his overall average, but if you look at his weekly scores, he is going higher, and he has potential to go even higher. He has the potential to do the max score on almost 200 as well. So the advantages are, I think, you got a more consistent high score, even though there's nothing to say that he won't get 120 this week or 110 and De Koning gets 135. If I trade him out, that's almost guaranteed to happen. But I do like it as it's a trade that I don't have to worry about for later on. I don't have to worry about getting him in when he's higher, which we probably won't be able to afford. I prefer doing this if I'm going to spend a big 600k over getting a Bont or a Butters, just because those boys, well, we say they can be tagged. You can try and tag them. I mean, it's probably not the easiest thing to do in the world to try and tag a Butters or a Bont, and it probably doesn't work a lot of the time. But no one's tagging Cherry, are they? He's just going to go around, run around, monster people. You know, what's his run like? He's got Brisbane, who can be a bit restrictive sometimes. Richmond, Collingwood, I think your West Coast, Freo, Carlton. I mean, it's not the best run in the world, but it's certainly not the worst either. So you'd expect reasonable scores. Even, I mean, Nank, you got Cameron, you got Eagles, which will be 200. Freo, he's got Shrek. So, you know, he's not the easiest run in the world, but it's right up there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm the same. I think it's 15 to 20 points as well. And also, so I'm trying to justify it to myself by saying this too, right? So I got in Warner, who's at 480. Say the other couple of cheapies that myself and other people, I really shouldn't be thinking about other people, but myself are looking at would be like the 520 Dunkleys and Jordans. So if I got them, so that would be, you know, let's have a quick look. It's around 40k, right? How much is Jordan? He's the one that I'd probably prefer because I'm not too sure what's going on with Dunkley. Jordan Durson, for 521 he would be if we were getting him. So what's that? That's 32k, 33k. So I've saved 33k by not doing that. It cost me 60k to go from De Koning to Cherry. So I'm really spending 30k. That's the way I'm trying to justify it to myself. So that is the one move. I'm thinking like it's only costing me really 30k to jump up. I've still got 41k in the bank. I obviously want to look ahead to next week too. Now, when I got the calculator out and did the math, if I managed to get both those rookies next week, you know, I could do a downgrade on a some of potentially my rookies not playing, or Flynn, you know, downgrade Flynn, downgrade one rookie for the Boxall and the Lorenz, and then upgrade one. I'd be able to get another primo, pretty much whoever I wanted on the top of like of a Warner. I'd be able to get up to about a 600k player. So I could still get a very good player next week if I did this. Now, I'm calling that the swing for the fences. I'm figuring that in the top like 5% of teams, most people will have Gawn or most people will have Sherry. I don't think most people will have Gawn and Sherry. I think almost all those people in the top teams will have one or the other, but not a lot will have both. There will be people that have both, but not a lot will have both. And so that might help me drag myself up the ranks by when they both go off, and the fact that I have automatic vice captain every week. Like, doesn't matter. I just make whichever one plays first vice captain and the other one captain. And I think it's that way too. It might be more than a 50 and 20 point move per week because of the captain score. If I go a Brayshaw, or say I went Sheasel last week, it was 120, and I was like, and we didn't have the Gawn Eagles matchup. I'm like, I take it, and then Cherry comes out and gets a 146. Well, that's significant enough to make me think that, it could be worth it. So it's a luxury trade. I only traded once last week, so my trades aren't too bad. I do know there's people out there with less trades than me. So I have traded 2 every week minimum, except for last week where I traded 1. But I had, like we said, we still had 3 boosts, mainly because we were hand-tied from using them. So I don't mind that move, but I'll show you the other move as well. And I think this other move is it's just what a lot of the top teams are doing. So, and we'll just put the coding back. So here we go. Decoding again. So this is the other move. We get rid of Flynn now. And we get... Can I find him this way, or should I just look for him? Just look for him. Rowan Marshall. All right. So this is the other one that I'm thinking of. Do I think he stays aside? I mean, being an Eagles supporter, Mikey, makes me figure, I have no clue. I don't know what Minnie McWalter's doing down there. I don't know why he dropped Gross. I don't know why he dropped Hall. I'm actually extremely frustrated with him. I know you got to give the new coach a bit of time, but let's just face it, he's pissing me off at the moment. The way he's, seems to me he's got a dartboard, and every week he just chucks the darts at the dartboard, and whoever he hits gets to play. So as a Eagles supporter, I hope they continue to play Flynn, because you got to give him a go, right? Let's face it, he's the only real ruckman we have. No offense to Bailey Williams, super nice guy, good player, but he just doesn't have, he just can't compete against the monsters. Now, neither can Flynn. We saw last week that Gawn destroyed him, but Gawn would have destroyed Bailey Williams as well. And Bailey Williams, he's more of a forward. He's not a real ruckman. He's just not big enough. He's just not big enough to cope with the big boy ruckmans of the league. So I think you have to play Flynn, and you have to give him a chance, which he's not doing, which Minnie McWalter's not doing with the whole team. You got to give them a chance to play together. All these guys, you got to give them. You can't drop them every second week if they had a bad game. It doesn't matter. It's not like where you think you're going to win a game by bringing in Williams. You really think you're going to win a game by bringing in Williams over Flynn? No. We've been waiting 3 years for Flynn not to be injured. Just let him play for 5, 6, 7 games in a row. He really is the only, ruckman we've got which can go at the moment. Maybe in the future we've got a few boys that can be all right, but just let him play 4 or 5 games in a row and, get a bit of, synergy with his other teammates. He might actually know where a midfielder is. He might actually know where Tim Kelly is running or whatever, chip it to him. At the moment, he's only played a couple of games. How's he going to know where to tap it down to, How's Tim Kelly or, a Hewitt or someone going to know, or a Harley Reid, where to run past him, where he likes to tap it? You got to give him. I would like to see him get, don't matter how badly he gets smashed, to get a good run of games. And the same with the rest of the players too. Like these young guys, if you're putting them in the team, none of this bullshit of dropping them out after a week. They get 3 to 4 weeks minimum. After 3 to 4 weeks, if they're tired and sore, you let the rookie have a rest in the waffle, or give him a break. But none of this 1 in, 1 out bullshit. Like the time for deciding who you were going to have a look at, that was pre-season. Now we're in the season. I understand that it's not likely we're going to win a game, but we'd like a chance, and the only chance we've got is to play players together and let them get a bit of synergy It's called a team sport for a reason. It's not fucking tennis where someone walks out there by themselves and wins the game. All 18 players have to kind of know each other. The core have to know each other and have to know what's going on. Anyway, that's my whinge. That's my whinge, Mikey. So that was a long way to saying I got no idea whether he gets dropped or not. You're going to have to watch the team sheets. If he gets dropped, I could always either keep Bice in the back line and drop him for Warner, which also works as well. But why Marshall? So he's very cheap. He's like a Marshall at this price is a primo at a cheap price with a high ceiling, and that's what I like about it too. He's got a high ceiling. Is he in the form of last year? Well, not so far, but there's potential there, right? There is potential there. So, last year he went 120 points versus Carlton, 123 versus the Eagles, and 117 versus Gold Coast. Considering this is Witts, maybe Witts playing. Obviously, I'm not sure Witts was playing that game, but if he was, that's a good score. So he has got the potential to go big, and he's at a very cheap price. Now, we saw Flynn also had the potential to go big. Flynn got a 140, but I think that's a rarity. Like, we've seen games that the Eagles have played where the highest score. Remember that game where Marich was the highest scorer and he had 88 when we had a thrashing? So, a lot of time Flynn's going to play against a big monster and he's not going to get a great score. He'll get 100 every once in a while here and there. Here's Ruckman. He'll have a good game. But I'm thinking that he's not. Flynn's, I'm expecting 80s to 100s out of Flynn, and I'm happy with 80s to 100s, to be honest. But Rowan Marshall, this year, so he got 82, he got 121, 117. Then he went on a bad streak, 60, 50, 60. So I'm not too sure whether he was injured, what's going on there, or whatever. But look at this, he started the season at 600k. 600k, and now he's at 470, and his last two scores are 133 and a 112. So that's this year. Now, if we have a sneaky look at last year, all right, so this is how he scored last year. 127, 100, a 79, 147, 120. Then he had a 51 and a 60. That was against Bulldogs, so that's an English and Sweet, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Maybe there's a second ruckman in there or something. Then he got 107, 164. Now, this is what excites me. 164, 169, 73, 85, 117, and a 95. Then 111, 79, 107, 100. Now, here we go. Now, this really, really excites me. Last games from round 19 on last season, 123, 135, 126, 126, 146, 120. Now, Flynn's not doing that. Flynn's never doing that. And if I was to pick him and he was to do this, wow, that would really help me with the ranks. And so instead of going Cherry instead of De Koning, we keep De Koning. Obviously, another thing, if Pitnet was named this week, I'd just do the Cherry swap straight up. Or I'd even be tempted to do down to Rowan Marshall and then try and pick up Cherry later type of thing. Maybe. I think that's probably a little bit more risky. But but if Pitnet's not named, then De Koning could still, this is probably his lowest score all year. He could still get a 135 this week. I mean, he's got a 148, a 133, a 135. So he's quite capable of getting a 130, a 140 on a good day. This 80 is his lowest score. It's his first score lower than 100. So he's done as well. I mean, he's still 20k more than what it was when we originally got him. I certainly wouldn't be buying into him now, but, this way, the advantages of this way, I think Marshall's got a high ceiling. The Marshall and Tagoning will together, on a good day, score more than probably a Sherry and a Flynn will on a good day. And more consistent. I figure the two of these are going to be more consistent than a Flynn and a Sherry. Flynn's just going to drop you a bad score occasionally. So these both could potentially get you 150 each. So they both went 140 each. So, that's 280. Even if Cherry gets a 150, that means, Flynn's going to have to get 100 minimum to get him even in the ballpark of what these two guys could do, pretty easily. So I'm really divided whether I make this luxury trade or not. Do I get... Yeah, I don't know, Mikey. I have to admit, I don't know. This way, I feel like I can score more this way, but I feel like I've still got to... I'm definitely not buying him as a keeper, unless he really twisted my arm and started smashing those 150s, 160s every week. I do have the option if later on, if someone was to go down injured, one of these two guys, I guess I could always put not having any flexibility, like if he was like a ruck forward swap, DPP, you'd be snapping him up before, like we all hoped that might happen, but it didn't happen. He'd be a must-have. At the moment, it's just because he's clogging up the team. If he had DPP, you'd have him straight away. So I was hoping to get Flynn out within a week or two to stop him clogging up the team. And if I do this, I'm getting in another player that clogs up the team. And potentially not a keeper, But he will make us money. At the moment, what's he? It's at 31. So if he gets projected score 80, if I'm buying him, I better hope he gets more than that. He'd go up by 20k. So I'm saying 100. Go up by another 10. Tough one. Not sure Cherry is an animal, but if Marshall does well at the price, yeah, Will could decide your season now. That's exactly right. And I've seen a few other good coaches making this move. Like I'm like, this. I'm not the only one thinking about it. Yeah, that's right. Cherry is an animal. He's a beast. He's not just animal. He's an absolute beast. And so I'm giving away that automatic captain, vice captain score. I'm also left with less money, 19k. I don't think Flynn's going to make too much money in the time that I need him to make it. If we have that's the other reason too. Like, can we just go? So with that lower score in his 3-round average, he comes out and gets a 73. He better get higher than a 73, even though he could easily do it. If you're keeping him, I want like an 80 or a 90 minimum. If you got a 73 2K, let's just chuck 20 on there and say he gets a 90. Say he gets 100, extra 25 points, putting extra 12.5. So that's going to go up by about 15k. And then if you came out and got 100, that'll be a bit less. So it's another 10k or something, 25k. So I'm thinking he's potentially score a little bit higher than this, but maybe not. Like down here, they're giving him 80, 89s, 85s. I think that's more like it. And they're saying he'll get to about 410, 4. By the time his buy comes, I probably want to get rid of him, which would be this one. So they're saying 400k. Let's say he goes a little bit better. He has another peak score. He has 110 or 120 in there. He might be at 410, 420. So maybe 40k if he lives up to how we want him to live. If he does what he's supposed to do, maybe 40k. But over a lot of weeks, that's 5 weeks or so that I would have to wait. Somehow I don't think he would survive that 5 weeks in my team. Now with Marshall, where do we say he's at 470 now. If I'm using him as a non-keeping stepping stone, Like, they're only predicting 80s. I kind of wish I had the predictor, but so they need to give him more than that to make it reasonable. I'm thinking he could get to, well, he started the season at 600k. Let's just say that if he was to regain really good form, I think he could get to 550 quite easily. If he gets this like 112 every match, I'm pretty sure he's going to get up there. So there's I think this is I feel like here I'm kind of getting another premium on the field, even if it's not a keeper premium, I'm getting another premium on the field. Where if I do the Cherry move, I'm not getting another premium on the field. I do have a ruck that could go okay, but I'm giving myself a guaranteed captain choice. And the fact that if these two both go off together, they can have a bigger game than what a Cherry and a Flynn do. But I feel I have the amount of trades to make a luxury trade now. I don't know I think the Rowan Marshall trade is not so much a luxury trade, it's an upgrade. I think if they both, what do we predict? Flynn could go up 40k, well, Marshall could go up 40k too. If Marshall goes off and he gets a couple more of these, maybe goes up to 550, 600, and I decide that, I want the Cherry, I've made the money to jump from the Cherry, because the Cherry is probably worst case scenario, he's going up to 700k, which we can see happen. He's at 630 now, so a couple more 130 weeks, he'll be right up there with like Butters at 700k, which is kind of going to make him untouchable. And the only reason he came down in the first place is because he got injured, which is what I'm worried about. So I'm thinking that now at 630, unless he gets injured, shit happens, but unless he gets injured, he's probably not going to be much cheaper. If I was really going to do this move, the move would have been a few weeks ago when Sherry was he was about 550 and we could have made 15 grand and swapped it. So yeah, I really don't know. I really don't know, Mikey. The first two trades are locked in. Also, obviously depending on team sheets and Huss weight, and that Huss weight is named where he's supposed to be. Sure, Warner will be fine. So I'm not sure what we're going to do, but I'm figuring with how close I am, that's 600 points. Got to decide, right about now is where I got to decide. Am I going to swing for the fences and go for the optimal score that I can, to try and drag in those top teams? Or am I going to sit back, hope that the teams I've got is going to perform okay, and potentially save trades for my leagues? Yeah, it's such a tricky decision out of the two. I like it, but I like them both. There's things I like and I don't like about both. I don't like spending the extra money to get from Koning to Sherry, and not really improving my team in the way of I'm not getting any rookies or any players that I don't like off the field. But I do like the captain, vice captain options every week, and the fact that he has a massive ceiling. When the Marshall pick, well, we're getting Flynn, who is really a rookie or a mid-price or off the field for a potential gun, who's very cheap. He's cheaper than Chad Warner, right? Look at it this way. We're saying Chad Warner is cheap at 480. Now, he's 470. He's almost 18k, 488 versus 470. He's 18k cheaper, and he could easily go much bigger. Average 112 he was last year. Total points, yeah, that's the average, right? 112, and that's with this little run of 50s and 60s. What about you, Warner? What did you get out? What did you average last year, my friend? Average of 10. Oh no, mate. Yeah, all 103. So he's cheaper with a higher average. Yeah. So that's the things I'm thinking of. You got any hard decisions, Mikey, or anybody else out there? Who are you thinking about trading in or out this week? They're my decisions. This is what I like to use the live video for, a bit of a chat and a bit of a think, a bit of a deep dive and a think into, what's going on. Let's have a look, whoever else is out there. In the way of, what about other coaches? What are the other coaches are doing? So all coaches, let's do what the top 5% of teams are doing. Round change. Who is everyone? So okay, this week. Hey Shawshank, Lockie Ash or Jack Sinclair? All right, let's have a look. Let's do some research. Defenders. All right, Lockie Ash 570, Sinclair 530. So Sinclair is cheaper. Lockie Ash has been smashing it this season. Is this his lowest score so far this season? 120, 80, 95, 130, 137, 100, 140, 85. That seems pretty sweet, right? Sinclair, I'm a Sinclair owner. I bought him the week 2 and he got me this 162, which I was very excited about. 180, 108, I'm like, yay. And then he's got a 70, a 99 and an 83. So his current form is not the best. There obviously was that talk about him lining up with the forward line and stuff, but it didn't happen last week. I mean, I think the problem with Shees and even a little bit with Lockie Ash is the price, right? If you're just going the bargain basements, like if it wasn't to complete your team, if this completes your back line, I would say get who you think's going to score the best. So, I've got Whitfield. I think Whitfield is guaranteed top three defenders. Lockie Ash looks like he's going to be. He's kind of got the same role as Whitfield, right? They're kind of doing the same thing. But he hasn't done it before, which is the only reason to make me think. Sometimes we jump on these, the Bailey Dales and stuff of the world like I did, and what do people call them, like fake primos or whatever. I don't think he's a fake primo, but he hasn't done it before. I would think if you want a pod, if you're looking to gain spots, like if you're looking to risk a little bit and move up in the ranks, Lockie Ash might be the way to go. He's owned by the least amount of people. If you want to pod against your fellow league people, he's probably the one you want to go for. If you need to go, if you're playing the money game like I am, trying to get in, buy cheap, sell high, Sinclair. You're not going to get Sinclair, I don't think, it's too much cheaper than this. 100 to 31. So you could even wait a week on Sinclair and potentially get him. He could be 5'10". What do they predict that he's going to get? If he comes out and gets 110 this week, so they're predicting 99, he's going to go down 14k. So he'll be, if that was the case, gets a flat 100, he goes down 14k, he's at 520k. That is such a bargain. I don't know, that and the fact he has the dual position status, I'd be very tempted to pick him up and just hope that he performs. I mean, I have Zorko, and I also like Zorko as well. At 500, it's just so cheap. She's Short, Roberts, Holmes, Trainer and Leak. Yeah. So, I mean, at some point, you got to get rid of Short. I don't know who, Shawshank, great movie, one of my favourites. But I don't. Who are you getting rid of? If you're getting a rookie off the field, I guess you have Sheasel, Short, Roberts, Holmes. They're your 4 primos, and you got Reed on the field and Leak and Trainer. So, who are you selling? Because you don't really want to sell Reed or Trainer at the moment. So, if you were going Leak to one of these guys, I would say, yeah, great. Otherwise, I'd probably make Reed and Trainer make you some more money, Shawshank, and maybe look at another line this week. That's what I was doing. If you see, I have a similar back line to you in the way of rookies. I've got Reed, Trainer, and Carroll, not Leak, but I wouldn't be for Bice. Yeah, so like I traded out Bice and moved the back. I moved I could have moved Cheese or Sinclair into the back. So, yeah, I think they're all okay decisions. I think it's what type of game are you playing? If you're playing the value game, and if that money that you save from between getting Sinclair and Whitfield or gets you another primo next week, go to Sinclair. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it at the moment. Still got to get a lot of rookies off the field. If he also, that DPP, you can leave him sitting in the midfield for a while. I mean, he's probably, if he was straight out, you want the scores, Whitfield. If you want the big scores and the Mr. Reliable, I'm saying Whitfield. If you want to go a pod, you're trying to gain spots or, crush people in your league who don't have the same as you, I would go Ash. And if you want to you're looking for value and you're looking to look for the future, I'd probably go Sinclair. That pretty much finishes it leaves you with one rookie on the field, the same as me, right? You would have Shees and Roberts. You got Holmes back there, who has already got DP, which is nice. You got Reed there as holding up that spot for the moment, and then in this spot is the spot where you would have Whitfield, Ash, or Sinclair. So it looks like a pretty good back line to me, my friend. Very similar. So then you would still have one spot to pick. Say you still have the one rookie on the field, so maybe you could wait and hope that Whitfield comes down, So if it was your last spot and your last spot only, I'd be tempted towards getting the player that you think is going to perform the best. But because it's not your last spot, maybe, if it was me, I'd probably be going the value. But it depends on what situation you're in, like we talked about. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to beat your leagues? You're trying to move up your ranks? What rank are you at the moment? If you're ranked, if you're well down in the ranks and you don't care about the ranks, then you just want to win your leagues and maybe the better player is the way to go. But yeah, I think they're all good decisions. It's just whether you want to be the pod, save the money, or go for the best guy available. This year, I'm really trying to do the value. As we know, which I forget every year, is that Supercoach is all about, basically, even if you didn't know who the players were, it's about value. I have a guy who I don't think he's in my league this year, but he's a friend of a friend who played in my league every year. Doesn't even watch football. He likes football, but he doesn't watch it or pay any attention. But he's a very smart guy. He works in IT, and he basically does it like Moneyball. He just buys the value every year and gets a good across-the-board value team. He doesn't play it like in my heart, I'm like, I have to have Gorn, in my heart, I need him, or I have to have Bont. I love Bont. I need him in my team. He doesn't think about that at all. He goes pure value, and he was right up there every year. It was super annoying that some guy doesn't even really watch football or pay attention to it was right up there at the top of my league every single year. Yeah, I'm Shawshank. I mean, it could turn bad, but he's a good player. If he had played forward last week, I would have been going. And like I say, you can always go Sinclair next week. You don't have to go him this week. He's 131 break even, so he could be cheaper next week. If you've got somewhere else, if you decided on Sinclair, I'd kind of be seeing, is there somewhere else in your team that you could muck around with this week? There's no Bice. There's no reason you have to get rid of Bice this week. I'm just doing it because I've only got really the option. I've only got option of Bice or Flynn. It gets me enough to get Warner. I have to go one or the other. None of these other rookies, except for Reed and Trainer, who I'm not trading out, have enough, money on their heads to get me up to who I want. But if you're gonna go Sinclair, I'd highly recommend just waiting one more week, because if he comes, maybe he does play that forward role that they talked about. Maybe just last week they didn't need him there or something. So also, if Philippou comes back and plays in the centre, I'm kind of hoping that pushes Sinclair back into the back line, not into the forward. I'm hoping that means he's going to be the Zorko and the Whitfield, seagull back there who just scoops everything up. Jordan Dawson, I like it. I think Joshua, I think he is really good value. I was super keen on him last week. Couldn't get him into the team. I couldn't get the plans. If I had the plans and the availability to get him in last week, I would have got him in last week. Except we went value again last week and we got track. So actually, they were both around the same price last week, weren't they? But the reason I wanted to finish off my forward line, and so for me, I went track last week. But if I would be serious, so here's what I was thinking, Joshua. See, this is the thing, isn't it? So I think he could be a trap, Joshua. Warner could be a trap. Is he going to be affected by Mills? Maybe not by Mills only. Mills only might even help him. He's got another person there in the midfield now helping him out. He's got at the moment it's really him and Heaney are the two big bananas who are doing most of the work. And looking if there's going to be a tag. Now, is somebody going to tag Mills if he comes back straight away? Not unless he's super smashing it, I guess. I'm more worried about when Mills and Goulden come back. When they're both in the team and they've got Heaney, what happens then? So for the next few weeks, and they can't seem to decide when. Every week I'll be like, oh, is Mills coming out this week? Is Mills going to play this week? And he doesn't play. So he's been a test or a 1 or 2 weeker for about the last 4 weeks, hasn't he? So there's no guarantee we will rest forward more, Joshua. I agree, and I think that is the risk. I think it is the risk. I think you could be right. I'm looking at it this way. It's an extra 40k to get Dawson for me. If I was going to not get Warner, the 3 players I'm looking at this week, or were looking at, were Warner, Dawson, and Dunkley. They're all that 520 or less, 530 or less. I think they're all really good value. They're the ones that I would be thinking. I think Dawson, out of all of them, has the highest break even. The lowest break even. I think he's the one that's going to, after his massive score last week, if you're going to get him at a break even of 74, I'd probably be jumping on him this week. I do think he's a very good pick. I think he's got a high ceiling, as he showed with the 156. He's been, besides the 60 and the 76, he's been pretty consistent. He has a proven past of doing really well. I think he is the safer pick over Chad Warner. For me, Warner, he's just cheaper, and that extra 60k-ish or 50k is going to help me out in the future. Plus, at worst comes to worst, right? He lives as a flex player in the end. And so, then if he has a spike score of 140 something in the flex, great. And if he has a down score of a 70 where he sits forward for like half a match, that's it. I'm kind of a risk it to win the biscuit. That's what they say. Then that's why I think it might come back to bite me on the backside later on, Joshua. I think you're exactly correct. It could well be an issue, but at the same time, you never know. That's a long way. Goulden's still quite, I think, 6 weeks or something away. Let's have a quick look. So anything could happen in that time. So, yeah, Callum Mills, foot to... See, he's not even a 1 to 2 weeks now. Now he's a to be confirmed. A week we were aiming to complete match play at training this week. So we've heard this every week for like 3 weeks about Mills. So it could be next week. It could be a few weeks. We were talking, Shawshank, about your defence. Might be nice to leave that Zach Reed position, which is like what I'm doing, just in case Mills comes back and smashes it. Like, I'm hoping that I might be able to do a straight swap from a Reed or a Trainer to a Mills, who's in primo form. But I'm thinking you are right, Joshua. It could be a trap. But what if Heaney gets injured? 5 weeks for Goulden. I am buying him as a keeper, but he could live at the flex in a worst case scenario. Taylor Adams, he plays that like small forward role these days. They don't give him the midfield run. His ceiling is amazing. Dawson, yeah, he's the number one dude in there now, 100% with Crouch out. They're going to try and tag him? Maybe, but I don't know. I think, if he kicks 80%, 29 touches, 5 tackles, well, he did kick 3 goals, didn't he, to get that 156 score. So he's not going to kick 3 goals every week, but he has the capacity to do it, which is nice. Rotating mid, not full game. Yeah, I mean, I like the pick, Joshua. For me, if I could afford to get him in as well this week, I would be considering it. As you can see, if I get the Marshall in, it only leaves me 20k. So I wouldn't be able to make my big moves. I might just be able to get the Cherry move in if I did it that way. For me, I think I'm just going to risk it with Warner. I'm going to ride the roller coaster. If I have to boot him later on, fine. If he has to live at sub for a while, fine. But the money, just for the money, 100% I think Dawson is a safer pick. 100%. I think he's much safer and he'll be right around the top 8 midfielders. He'll be anywhere from 6 to 12 midfielders end of the season. Dawson is a younger Zorko. Cheap touches can kick goals. He also gets CBAs. Yeah, don't get me wrong, buddy. I kind of wish I had the money to have got him last week. If you can afford him, I would say go for it. I mean, over Warner, yep. I'm risking it a little bit. Plus, the other thing I'm thinking that for me, let's have a look at who's. I'm going to assume that Jordan Dawson is owned. Ownership is a lot higher. Oh, you didn't like that? Yup. Collapse. Internet says no. Sorry about that, crew. Alright, internet is having a bit of an issue. Hopefully you guys are still with me. What's my biggest miss? I had Ned Long in my team and took him out. I didn't like that. There we go. Something's going on. There we go. We're back now. Biggest miss, and Sherry probably. I went. I mean, yes, I've got Max Gawn. It would have been very hard to go Matt Gawn and Sherry at the beginning of the season, but I think almost just should have done it. I also didn't have Smith at the beginning of the season. I had to get rid of basically Horn Francis to get to get Smith in. I got rid of Rowe. I know what my biggest mistakes were. I got rid of Rosie and I got rid of Horn Francis, which were both my biggest mistakes. Yeah, Sherry and Gawn. I think there was a very good reason why I went Sherry over Gawn is because the year before, last year, I had Gawn. Sorry, I didn't have Gawn. And other people were doing this, exactly what I did to the rest of the competition last week. We're doing this to me every single week. I can't tell you how many times people vice-captain Max Gawn against me next week in my leagues, and he just went huge. And the first game he played like in round 0 or something, and he had a bit of a scare, a bit of an ankle strap or something, and I was like, oh, I'll fade him, and I faded him, and then he smashed like 150 every single week, and people vice-captain him every single week, and it really hurt me. And this year I'm like, I'm not having that happen again. I'm just getting Max Gawn, and I'm going to deal with it. And I didn't go Sherry just because, even though I really liked him and I thought he was going to go well the year before as well, instead of Max Gawn, when I faded him, I went Tim English, because the year before Tim English had a massive, I think he was almost 700k at the beginning of the season, and he had a massive season, a huge season the year before, like 140s, 30s every game, and he just did shit. So I really got punished by not having Gawn and going the guy who had the one good season and broke out and then failed. And I was like, oh, is Cherry going to have a one good season and break and fail? Anyway, I read too much into it. So we had Gawn. At least we went Gawn. So that's a good start. But yeah, I'm the same, Joshua. There was picks which I changed because obviously being a content creator myself, I like to watch all the other guys. And, they go through all the stats and they're like, yeah, this is good. So exactly this week, right? So this is what. So at the beginning of the week, I was like, my tricky trade, my one that, luxury trade was the Tagoning to Sherry trade. And then I saw quite a few of these other people. They're getting in Marshall. I'm like, ooh, hey, Powers, how you going, buddy? You whippersnapper, you. Whippersnapper club in the house. Stick to your gut. Yeah, that's exactly right, Joshua. Sometimes you do have to stick to your gut. There's been a few of those decisions this year that a few that won and a few that haven't. Like Brayshaw, I knew that Brayshaw was going to be good, and I was 99% sure that Brayshaw was going to be better than Sarong. As Sarong did what we talked about. Nog. Who's there, Powers? So I was almost sure that you get influenced by other Supercoach channels. Yeah, I mean, I love watching the boys, and and don't get me wrong, sometimes they really help. Like, they started talking about, I watched somebody else, and they talked about Fonte, the rookie for next week. I didn't even notice that he was a thing. I knew he wasn't a thing for this week, unless you were going early. But I wouldn't have even known that he was on the horizon for next week if it wasn't for another content creator. Hey guys, I got to be back in 2 seconds. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't know if that worked. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, crew. Yeah, I mean, one thing, Joshua, I hope I didn't lose too many of your crew there. I hope you're still around, Joshua. Is it we got Powers, 2 Joshuas in chat? Is that correct? Joshua and Joshua Powers. Powers, I believe you're probably not interested in Supercoach very much. Need to start a Josh club? Yeah, maybe we do need to start a Josh club. Even though I happen to know, thanks for dropping by, Powers, because I'm pretty sure you have no idea what we're talking about, being not from here in Australia, but thanks for dropping by and saying g'day. Yeah, there has been... What other gut picks did I have this year that I really liked? Marriage, I kind of knew I kind of had I think he was lucky, but, we kind of went there and it worked out for us. I think the other ones are pretty much just normal. I pretty much went with the pack this year, I have to admit. I went with the pack a little bit. So there is quite a bit of delay. So I'm a bit sorry. Sorry if there's a bit long of me getting to your questions. There seems to be quite a long delay between, it just came back to me as far as I can see then, and I'll be talking for a couple of minutes. So sorry about that. That's if I'm taking a little while to get your questions, guys. That's the only reason, just because of the delay. So sorry about that. I will answer any questions you guys have got here. I really appreciate everybody jumping on and having a chat. It's nice to have a bit of a chat on a Thursday morning. Delay is pretty bad. Yeah, I think I can change that for next time. I think it's actually within the settings of YouTube that they do a slow delay, but I'll look into that next time for you guys. Just want to be able to chat in real time if I can. Any other plans? Anyone? What about you, Josh or Mikey? What do you? Josh, you talked about your plans this week. I think Dawson is very good. What are other people doing in Boxshaw? I'd be a little bit dubious. Wait, please, people. Please wait to next week for both of these guys. Erasmus, if you need the money, 10,000 people are getting him in, and I reckon he's got 1 week. Yeah, we're streaming on YouTube, Powers, because it's just more relevant to this game. I don't think on Twitch, our old Twitch stream, we would get many people who I think most of the AFL Supercoach people, they do it on YouTube, stream live on YouTube instead of Twitch. So, but yeah, the video will come up on YouTube and people can watch it afterwards, which is kind of nice. I used to be much more of a Twitch boy. Now we're kind of moved over to YouTube when it comes to Supercoach, but I love talking about Supercoach. And I'll never shut up if you ask people like Powers says, we constantly talk all the time. So people are getting in Boxshaw, Erasmus, Merritt. I mean, I would love Merritt, but he's at 590, just can't do it. Will Lorenz going a week early. In my trade video, I said if I was going to go a week early, I'd probably go on him. I'm almost taking that back and saying just wait. Boak doesn't look like he's too far away, so just wait. And people are getting Bontempelli too. Where are people getting this money? Hey guys, where are people finding the money for Merritts and Bontempellis? Surely that's destroying their team. A lot of people are dropping to Goning. I'm considering it, but I wonder if they're going to Marshall. Let me just undo our trades and see what people are doing. Got to keep an eye on the time. Don't want to undo my trades and then find the football started. What time? What have we got? 4 hours. I don't think we'll be on for 4 hours, so I think we're pretty safe. All right, now let's have a look. Most traded out the team. Flynn, Bice, which are the moves like we're kind of thinking about doing. Murphy, Reid. Well, they're the top three. They're the three people that I'm thinking about trading out. So fair enough. Kako, he's not making us millions of dollars, but he's not losing us millions of dollars either. I mean, I'm still praying that one day he has a spike score, and De Koning is also his fifth. So 11,000, 9,000. Okay, that's... Henry Hustwaite, he should be number one. He should be number one. So if you don't have him, you must get him this week. You know, if you're playing seriously, surely you've got a rookie that can be culled for Hustwaite this week. I'm thinking that, yeah, you must have, right? You must have. Warner, so that's another choice that I was thinking. Boxall, Erasmus. Oh, what's going on here? Yep. I'd say just wait, please, people, on these two. Erasmus, this is his money week, so you kind of do have to go. Where he's named on the bench, so that doesn't excite me. If he was named on the field, it would excite me more. You got to wait to see who the sub's going to be. You got to wait, people. If the sub, I think there's a real chance that he'll be the sub or he'll be subbed off. Just looking at this, if they take the sub from the interchange they normally did, Voss is a key forward. He's not going to be a sub. Murphy Reid, he's been in the game every week. I don't think he's been the sub at all. So Chapman could be the sub, like halfback running play. He could be the sub. Cooper Simpson, I'm betting that he's going to be the sub. Or one of these two are going to be the sub. I'm not too sure which one, but that's my bet. If I was a betting man, that's who I bet. This game looks way better than anything you have in the States. It is. I'm not even going to debate it with you, pals. AFL is the greatest game in the world. The only people who disagree with that are the people who have never really watched it or followed it. It just is. It's just fast and exciting and tough. Well, it used to be tough. Not so tough anymore either, my AFL friends, is it? But, yeah, so, I mean, Merritt, people are just chasing that 172 score. I think there's a world where Merritt comes back down the price. 18,000, 10% of people getting in Warner this week as well. We're really following the pack by doing that. We're really following the pack. All right, should we have a bit more of a play, crew? I know we lost quite a few people there, but, you know, I really appreciate both the Joshuas, the Shawshank and the Mikey for popping by and having a chat. Let's do the trades again. So we got Murphy out. Sub any of my million DPP players. I mean, is there a world where we can get Dawson as well? I forgot that we've actually got the pictures of the game in the bottom there, pals, for you to watch if you want to. That is our game. The best marks, they call the marks where they catch the ball and they crunch about 1 million people. And then there's the best goals too. Okay, so is there any other way we can do this? Say we do. Bice, Shees, and Koning. One. So now, if we get Cherry, I mean, can we afford? We could afford Dawson as well. we were trying to work out how many people own Dawson, and I think the ownership between him and Warner after this week looks like it's going to be pretty similar. So he is in, where does it show us up here in the summary? He is in 14% of teams. And how many are buying him in this week? 1.4%. So still only 15% at the moment. Only 15% at the moment. So as opposed to Warner, can you guys see that? You can't see that. Warner, who is 10,000 people are getting him in this week. Joshua, you might have influenced me into getting Dawson over Warner. You might have influenced me. Influencer, you don't even need to be an influencer. You can just come on and have a chat, and you might have even talked me into it. I do like it though, Joshua, if you're still hanging around. The money is like 32K, which I won't have next week. And what do we say? So he's got 10.8% of people buying him in, and he's already in 8%, so he'll be at 18%. So that's right around the same as 18%. That's very similar to what we just saw for Dawson, right? That's just very similar to what we just saw for Dawson. 14% plus another... No, Dawson's actually in less teams. So in theory, Dawson is more of a pod than... He's more of a pod than Warner. Now, that also leaves me an option of it would kind of complete my forward line if I did that. Like, I'd have Petrarca and Warner. So I'd have Petrarca here and I would have a Warner, he would, basically one of those guys would be one of my mids permanently. Then I don't really want to be, unless Warner failed and we wanted to be getting rid of him, but... Now, that would leave me... Next week, we can do Flynn for a rookie, or do the 2 down and the 1 up again. The 2 down here and 1 up on him. But it means I missed Marshall. Who is going to be more valuable in my team? To have De Koning, Marshall, and Warner... De Koning, Marshall and Warner, or Flynn, Sherry and Dawson. I think the Marshall move could be really good, right? That's why, this is what I was first thinking of. We get the captain choice. The real thing I like about the setup like this is we just go vice captain into captain every single week. Or the opposite way around, every single week. And you're going to 121, 130. I think that's almost the minimum that you're going to be going. You're not going to have a week where, without a real lot of bad luck, you're going to get a low captain score. So I'm thinking, it is a luxury trade. I still don't know if that's maximizing the money. If we get Warner and Rowan Marshall here and keep De Koning there, we have potential Primo. So here we got Primo, someone we still got to get rid of. If we put Marshall there, we're still got to get rid of him, but he can get us Primo scores. Flynn can get us reasonable scores. I'm not giving him, that 140 in his system. That's a pure pulled it out of his ass fluke. like 87, 105, 114. I'm expecting in this 87 to 105 mark. I feel like that's where he's going to be most weeks. Yes, he played Max Gawn, and Max Gawn slaughtered him for a 53. This week he gets Nank. Nank is probably going to be better than he is. He's probably going to, Nank's a big boy, so he's probably going to hurt him. Then he's got Rowan Marshall, who we've just been discussing is coming into good form. Then he's got the man Riley O'Brien, and it's not too. And then he's got a week off with Geelong, who seems to be struggling with their rucks. So the only easy matchup, and then he's got Sherry, and then he's got De Koning, and then he's got Cameron. There's all the chances that he comes out and gets a 70 or so for the next few weeks, maybe all except for the Geelong game. This could be his projected score could be right. And if that's the case, he's not going to go up by very much more. If this was right, these projections were right, I'd be tempted to keep Bice instead. I think it's risky. I think it's risky. I think this way it's safer, because like we said, I think Dawson is the safer pick out of Dawson and Warner. Especially now that Crouch is out and he's the number one guy, and he can kick goals. And I mean, it's not like he's having a bad season. 100, 124, 96. Even when you saw this 96, you're not unhappy with this 96, right? No one's unhappy with this. 124, you're like, this is a wicked first 4 games. Then he gets to 60, you're like, against Geelong, which I don't know what happened there, if someone went to him or something, but maybe they just got absolutely flogged in this game. I'm not too sure. Then 113, then 76. So he has a couple of average games against Freo where, I'm not too sure why that's game down. But then, bang, 156 versus Carlton. Carlton not a bad team. Carlton a good team this year. So, I'm liking it. What am I predicted? 239. Need my opinion, Mikey? Yeah, go for it, Mikey. How can I help? Comes with a warning sign. My advice comes with a warning. Do not always trust Shauno's opinion. Is not always right, but I certainly have an opinion. So give it to me, buddy. Hit me with it. You probably got the delay going, but when you let me know what you want my opinion on, and I will go for it. If I'm looking back in chat, you were asking about the I almost need some advice from you, Mikey. I just don't know what I want to do. Do I want to do trade Flynn for Huswaite and a dead rookie for Warner, or Sarah for Gawn, or Sarah for... So you're going to get out Flynn, get Huswaite in, you're going to get out Moraes for... I don't know who you're bringing in for Moraes, so you're doing a boost for Warner, and you're getting Warner. So you're doing 2 rookies down for Warner up, or Sarah for Gawn. Who's the ruck that you're getting rid of? Who are you getting rid of for Gawn? If it's De Koning, you'd be in the same position with me, where it's almost a luxury trade. If you're playing one of those rookies on the field and Warner's going to be on the field instead of one of those rookies, I think it's fair, which is exactly what I was going to do, basically just trying to get a rookie off the field. We all love to have Gawn, to be honest. Same you want Gawn, I want Sherry, but are they valid picks? Are they just wasting a trade? You have the three-headed dragon. Now, at the beginning of the season, Mikey, I thought this was the way to go. I thought by the end of the season, 100% that we have the three of them there. I got a feeling in my team anyway, that won't be how it is at the end of the season, just because the flexibility of having a ruck here really bogs things up. And especially coming into the buys, the more flexibility you're going to have in the buys, the better off we're going to be. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, pals. So, I mean, I like it. The other thing is, if for any reason Pitnet's, not named, he goes on a run of low form, you could always just dump De Koning and swing your Cherry back there, have the two big boys like this, and then, be able to use that somewhere else. It's definitely a luxury trade. I mean, if you said you really want Gawn though, don't you? You really want Gawn. You like me, I really want Sherry, you really want Gawn. Having the three, I think, gives your team a good chance of getting some big scores. Takes away the flexibility, but you are getting some good chance of getting some big scores, and you're getting a potential rookie like Flynn off the field. So in that way, I do support it. I think it certainly is not bad having those three guys on your field. They're the three monsters. If they all get 140 plus in a week, you're going to get a very big score. Are you killing your cash gen to get Max Gawn in? You're like, if you're getting Warner in, he's almost 200k cheaper, right? What are your plans for next week? Are you like me? So if I do this week, it brutalizes my cash, where I've only got 7,000 left. If I do the Warner and say not the Cherry, I've got over 100k for next week. The only thing I'm thinking next week, I can. So it might be good if you have a plan for next week. If by doing this week it means you can't do an upgrade next week, then maybe I would be thinking the Warner or a Dawson or something like that might be the better way to go. If it's going to stop you from doing an upgrade. So I still feel that I might be able to do an upgrade next week by burning another boost, getting Boxall, getting Lorenz for, for me it'll be Flynn to a Lorenz or a Boxall, and then one of these, maybe a Henderson or someone. And so I did the math. So if we bring up the calculator for me, if I can bring up the calculator. So sometimes you got to think a week ahead. So I'd be thinking a week ahead, Mikey. You've invested trades to good rooks recently, so you're ready to make moves. And are you going early on a rookie, Mikey? You said, you're trading Flynn for Hustwaite and Moraes. You're getting Warner, or Sarah, I think, can still be a hold. I mean, if you don't want, Sarah could come out and get 110, 112 this week. You never know. He's been pretty good this season. He's just had a down game. But I think I understand wanting to get Gawn, and I understand that if you're looking, like you say, if you're looking to make moves, Gawn, he's your captain. So this is it. I'm thinking the same. If I'm looking to make moves, getting Sherry in gives me that, maximum score availability. Whereas if I get, if I don't do that and I just do, even the Marshall, I think even Marshall is fair. You could potentially go Marshall and hopefully Marshall makes another 100k or whatever. And I don't know if Gawn's coming down, probably not. But at least if he can make you, if you've got lots of trades in the bank, I mean, I might even prefer for you to do that. Get Marshall, hope that he has a few good games. He'll go up 100k and then jump from, at least then you're going in reality is 100k less because Marshall made it for you. But I mean, having the big three there, I'm like, for me, having Marshall could be better than De Koning by the end of the year. If you look at last year's stats, he could be, depending what happens, depending who comes back into the team. That's why I'm seriously considering that as well. I'm thinking that if I put Marshall there and he goes up 100k, yes, De Koning's going to be at 700k too soon, but maybe then if Cherry will be at 700k. If De Koning gets Pittner is named or he has another bad game, I could just, dump him and swap Marshall up there and get somebody else here until I can afford to get Cherry. So you're kind of thinking the same thing I am doing. It's a big move. It's a big move. It's a sideways move. Cherry to Gawn, but in some ways, the thing that makes it okay is the captain and vice captaining. Like, same with me and my team here. The thing that in my brain, I'm thinking, this is guaranteed captain, vice captain. And Gawn, if you get Gawn, he can no longer hurt you. If he's hurting you when it comes to not just scores, but in your leagues, just because, like I said, last year I didn't have him, and people were beating me in my league games purely on the back of having Gawn as vice captain. He'd play Friday. He played a ton of Friday and Saturday nights, and he'd come out and he would score 150, get a 300, captain score, and all of a sudden I'm already behind. I have to hope that one of my captains gets close to 150. It just really takes the worry out of your captain and your vice captain issues, which in theory could be really nice, not have to think about it. But I think if you're looking to make moves, it seems, I'm not thrilled about you going Shearer out, and also if you're going early on one or the other on that dead rook, I'd be a little bit dubious about going early on anybody this week. Yeah, and Gawn's, he's so expensive, so you really got to have good justification. And like I said too, think about next week. So I'll show you what I'm kind of thinking. So we bring over the calculator. So now I did it when I had Warner in the team, when I had a little bit more money. So now we don't have Warner in the team. Let's just say that next week we only got 7,800. So next week we get Boxall, the box man, the box car Willie, whatever we're going to call him. He's 113.5. So 113500. Put that in a bit of memory storage. So say we get rid of Flynn. Say we do this and we get rid of Flynn next week. So we go 384,900. I'm going to take our memory recall equals plus the, how much did we say we had? 7,800 plus 7,800 equals. So we'll have 279 if we went Flynn to Boxall. Now we don't want to be taking Flynn off and putting a rookie on though. We definitely want to be getting someone who's going to be taking that spot and can get us decent scores. So if we put that into memory save, what about if we did the other trade down to Lorenz? How much is the young Lorenz gentleman? $119,900. So memory save that one. Say if we went down from a Henderson, we got this non-playing rookie, like you were talking about, Joshua or Mikey getting a non-playing rookie off the field. So if we trade him 166,900, take Lorenz, which is 119,900. That's another 47k we make there, plus the memory recall. So that means if we did a boost next week, so I'll have 279,200 if we do the Boxall and Lorenz from Flynn and Henderson. So then we will need one more primo to get on the field. We don't really want Boxall, even though he looked okay, or Lorenz playing on the field, even though they both seem reasonable options for it. But I think, so 279,200 we've got. Now, who's the most likely? The rookie I'd probably want to get rid of the most is Corey Warner. He's not doing anything. He does have a 20 break even this week. If you heard the story, so look at his scores. I don't know if you guys have got him, you'll understand exactly what I mean. I don't think a lot of people have him, but he scores 50, 72 was his highest score, right? Then it's all 50, 30, 65, 20, 55. So he's around a 50, 55 player. That's the score he's got. He's got every single week. Last week, 3/4 time, he's got like 50 points. I'm like, here we go. We're going to get a 75. He's going to get a bit of cash gen going. Eureka. And they subbed him out. So I was like, sod it. But the one decent thing is I got rid of Connor Stone the week before. The week before he got his 75. He got a 75 and I was spewing. I was like, you son of a... he got like 40 every game. And the week I trade him out, he gets a 75. I was like, there's his cash gen re-kicked in. And they dropped him the next week. So sometimes it does work out okay. So 279, let's see. So on top of Corey Warner, 279 plus 225, 400. I'd have 550k next week. So my little plan, if I did it this way, I have 550. If I get Dawson here, I have, and if I do the, we got Dawson. If we get Warnock here, that's another 30k. So I would have 580 next week. Now 550 should get me a fallen primo potentially for next week. So if I do this, or if I do the Marshall way, which I think leaves me with just a tiny bit more cash. I think the Marshall way I get another 10k. Unless I went, unless I went Corey Warner here, where I'd probably have a little bit more than that. I wouldn't be able to do, obviously I can't do Dawson and Warner and Marshall there. It's too expensive and we don't have the trades. So 550k, let's have a look. So next week, who are my targets for next week then? We just want to look at the players. We want to be working on our midfield. I'm thinking that my forward and defensive lines are finished for the moment. Now it's concentrate on midfield only. Not midfield only players, but midfield only. Now, we got 550k. Yeah, has anyone got a massive... How do? We go break evens. If we go to break evens, go for players over 500k. Break even, this one, sorry. So these are people with huge break evens who are over 500k. So I'm just doing it this way because we'll have 550. So if you were planning to lose 50k this week, if you're about a 600k or a 580k player and you were looking at losing 30k, we might be able to afford you. So we could probably afford... We're not going to be able to afford Hewitt, Dacos, Treloar, I think is Butters. We could afford Tom Green next week. If we wanted to go Tom Green, we can't afford Bontempelli. We could go Caleb Sarong next week. We could probably go Sam Walsh next week. Libba, I had Libba the last 2 years, and I didn't pick him this year, only because he got injured so much. But he's always up there with the score, that in and under tackling. But, he does very well. And it doesn't seem to matter whether Bont's in the team or whatever. He still seems to do very well. If he doesn't get injured, he's a good pick. I have a friend that picked him a few weeks ago, so I hope it does well for him. I'm going to stay away from him. Just from getting burnt the last couple of years, I'm a little bit shy. So Sinclair, I've already got him. Otherwise, I'd be seriously thinking about snapping him up. Noah Anderson, I think, is a really good pick. I think that's a really good price. He'll be pick up from there. Yep, Mikey, I think it's a reasonable pick. The only thing I would say is, yes, Sarong had a massive season last season. Now, the reason I went Brayshaw, I was positive that Brayshaw was going to have a better season this year. I mean, you can never be 100%, but after watching them the last couple of years play, Sarong's a accumulator. He gets the ball a lot. Like sometimes he gets 40 possessions and he gets those huge scores. That's what he was doing last year. He was getting massive scores, but he was getting 40 possessions. So he's not quite getting those possessions now. Now Brayshaw loves to tackle. He loves to tackle. He holds up his score through his tackling and his pressure acts. He's always a lot of contested. Brayshaw doesn't need 40 possessions to get his 120, 130. He can do it off 25 or 30, where Sarong, to get his big scores, he needs a lot of possessions. So that's the only thing. I still like him as a pick, and I still think he's cheap as chips, and he could well and truly come good. I mean, Fremantle need to come good if they want to do anything towards finals, pretty much. They're not doing too well at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate for all my Freo friends. But I think, I think he'd be a reasonable pod. I think, I don't think too many people will have him. 26% of teams, so still he's not really a pod then. A lot of people have him, but Mikey, I don't hate the pick. I think he can be in, I don't know about top 6 mid. He can be a top 8 mid. He has the potential to be a top 6 mid. He just hasn't shown it this year. So Hayden Young's out now too, so maybe that means there's a little bit more ball to go around. But Hayden Young was also out at the beginning of the season, wasn't he? And didn't really affect Sarong's scores. So Sarong had his massive ceilings yet this year. Has he shown it this year? He's at 137 this week, so I probably wouldn't get him this week because you're going to get him even cheaper. You might be able to pick him up for 125. Has he had a big blow-up game? 102, 99, 100, 142. So there he's high ceiling. He's actually been super consistent. He's only really had, if you make that 100, every game he's been, got 100 plus, except for the last game. We'll give him that 99 game. We'll call it 100. So he's pretty consistent, and he has a high ceiling, and you can get him as cheap as, what are they predicting? If he gets 100 this week, he'll go down by 13K. He'll be 540K next week. So, I mean, I don't hate it. And for me, though, keep a little bit of aware. Round 12 bye is a bitch for a lot of people. So, it's not the round 12. Actually, Freo have the good bye, right? Where it's only them and St Kilda or something like that. Around 15, round 14, round 13. So, in some ways, getting in another fair play is not. I mean, you're not going to have to worry too much about here, right? Like, it seems because there's only the 2 teams out that week. The problem is, depending on what you like, for me, with leagues being so important, if I've got too many of these players out this game, and say I come up against someone who has no Freo, everyone's going to have McRae, but say I come up against a team that doesn't have Brayshaw and doesn't have Sinclair and doesn't have Sarong, they're going to have 2 more premiums to beat me. So yes, it's good for the overall buys. If you're going for league wins, though, you don't want too many of these guys, just in case, unless you eye up your league, your player. Yeah, Joe Powers, it does hurt. it hurts your brain a lot. So, I like the pick, but I would potentially be waiting. Well, I'd definitely wait till next week when it was cheaper. And if you didn't have a Freo already, if you had Brayshaw already, I wouldn't go there. But if you don't have him and you don't have like a Sinclair or something, it could be a good pick. Even if you do have a Sinclair, if you've got Sinclair out in the back line, one out here, one out here, and one out here, that's a pretty good round. So I do like it. I don't think I'll be going there for those reasons. Just for I've already got enough of those players. So who else can I get for, what do we say, 551 I'll have. I could get Liberatore, but I probably won't. Dunkley, I'd still be able to get Dunkley. So what's his break even? His break even is 97, so he's not going to go up that much even if he gets a really good score. So Dunkley will still be in my sights. I thought we were only looking at mids here. Oh, you took it away. Only the mids? Connor Rosie, can't do it after I trade him out. I'd love to be able to get Lachie Neale. Now, this is something... So if I went the other way, if I didn't do the cherry trade, I could afford Lachie Neale next week. I'd have an extra 60k, which means I would have 610k to spend, which means I would be able to get a better midfielder. I could, if I went really cheap, I could probably afford the Zach Merritts as well. But we're trying to get rookies off the field. I think Lachie Neale at 580 is a good price. If you were thinking about him this week and you could afford him, I'm thinking that's a good price. Holmes, I'm definitely considering Holmes. I know my defensive line is pretty much finished, but he could be my link at the end of the season. As we discussed, I would really like at least one primo, which I can move from forward to back, so like the Warner or the Petrarca types, and I would like one primo that I can go into the back once my back line is full. So say Sinclair is back here, I would like one more like a Holmes or somewhere for that maximum flexibility, and that will help. Like if I did it before the buys, it would help with the buys a lot. When did Geelong play? When's Geelong's buy? 14, 15, not to the last buy, around 16. And I've only really got one primo. I've got two primos out. Ashcroft probably won't be in the team by that time. So, I think Mikey Sarong is a good pick next week, not this week. I think Sinclair is a good pick next week, not this week. For me, Holmes as well. Holmes, again, just like Warner, I think Holmes can be a bit of a trap. He's got that really high ceiling, but he has a low floor too, especially if he's getting tagged. And it's either going to be him. People might try and start tagging Bailey Smith if he keeps continuing the way he goes. But who else? Like, you're not going to really tag Dangerfield anymore, are you? So I'm pretty sure that he is. Again, he's not going to be. The problem with that theory is they're not going to be in the top 8 midfielders. But if you look at my midfielders, right, so only really set midfielders, if I do it this way, will be the 3, Brayshaw, Dacos and Jordan. Sinclair goes to back line, Petrarca goes to forward line. Then I've really still got six gun midfielders. So if we get one, which is, say we went Horne-Francis and who we were just talking about, Holmes as the 2, which are my flexibility players. So then I would be left with 4 players that I would need in the midfield. And of course, we know we want Bont. We want Butters. So that's 2. Bont and Butters are the 2 that by the end of the season we want. We can't get them now, they're too expensive. But either we get through the buys and we fill up the other 2 spots And by filling up the other 2 spots, then we've got 2 left for the Bont and the Butters. So next week would be, it'd be either, did we say how much Holmes is going to be next week? He's going to be cheap, right? He's going to be so cheap. And the other thing, we got to think about, we're looking at these players around this 5, like he could be even cheaper, 128 if he comes out and gets 100. If he comes out and gets 102 as predicted, he's going to go down 11k. He'll be at 485 next week. So similar to what Warner is this week, similar to what Rowan Marshall is this week. Who's the safest pick, crew, out there in chat? You guys tell me. If you could have one of these 3, don't worry about your team structure or anything. If you could have Marshall, or you could have Holmes, or Dawson. No, we're using next week, so or Warner. We could say Marshall, Holmes, Dawson, or Warner. Even if we take Dawson out of that, Marshall, Holmes, or Warner, they're all the 570. Definitely. Oh, you're right, Mikey. Merritt has to be in there. So let's see. Brayshaw, Dacos, Bont, Butters, Merritt. Merritt is a must-have too. Holmes because of she's Sherlock. Yep. You want Warner? You like Warner better than Marshall? Yeah. See, I really like Marshall at last year's form. I think is the best. He has the lowest form and will get the biggest scores. Warner, like we went through with Joshua, who kind of convinced me of Dawson over Warner, which I kind of agree. And now the fact I found that Dawson is actually, not many people are actually trading him in this week. Surprising. But a lot of people are trading in Warner. Warner will be highly owned than Dawson. So, yeah, how will the midfield look? If I'm buying in Dawson this week, he has to stay, right? So, it'll be Brayshaw, Dacos, Dawson. You 2 boys are in your other prospective lines. You got Bont and Butters. So, I've still got the 3, but then we talked about having, Horn Francis and someone and Holmes. So, that would leave a spot for Zach Merritt. So, that would be Zach Merritt's spot. Yeah, the 3. I do love having the idea of the 3-headed dragon. But I like your call, Mikey. You think what about out of then, Mikey, out of Dawson and Warner? Warner showed us last week that he can still get a 140. I think Dawson's floor. You'll still like him. You still like him more than Warner. You still like Warner more. This is the whole thing, right? We said I wasn't even really thinking about Dawson. I'd put him on he's going to go up too much. The money I should have got him last week is what I was thinking. If I was going to get him, what was he? He was less than 500. Last week he was 498. Oh God, I wish I had an option. There's so much value around at the moment, like Dawson, Dunkley, Neal, Holmes, Warner. There's so much value around at the moment, and picking the right one might make the difference of your season. It might make the difference. I do really like everything that's going on there at Adelaide, though, with Crouch being out, and obviously he's in there with more CBAs. I do like it. I like them both. I like Dawson and Warner both. I have more worries about Warner is the only thing. Same as exactly what you were saying, Joshua. What happens when Mills comes back? What happens when Goulden comes back? I believe in the short term, Warner will be fine. For the next 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, he's potentially going to get you the big scores. When Warner, come out of the buys and it's like, hey, Mills is in the team. Hey, Goulden's in the team. What happens then? I don't think that's happening with Jordan Dawson. What happens? Crouch comes back after, how long is he's out for a while, but even with him in the team, it doesn't really affect 4 to 6 weeks. I don't think it really affects Jordan too much, whether he's in the team or not. The only difference to me, if we take this 20 or 30k and we chuck it on top of the 550, which means we would have, 580 to spend it next week, which means we might be able to get someone slightly better, but I'm not too sure who. Jason or Francis has a round 12 buy. If I want to do the painful thing of buying him back, we'll do it after the buys. I think Patrick Cripps is very much a smoky. I won't be going there, but at this price, 11% owned, he could be someone who is, really cheap. Isaac Heaney, I think we've seen he can perform. He has that same problem with Warner, though, that maybe he's the one who goes forward. Often I wonder why Heaney is probably the better forward, would you say? I think, he's shown in the past can be a really good forward. I think Noah Anderson next week for less than 530 is a good, if I don't go the value option this week, if I don't go Warner the value option this week, I'm going to have to go the value option next week, as opposed to, the 550k less. I'm not going to be able to get any of the big boys. I'm just going to have to take who I can, maybe a bit of a pod. How many people have our friend who we just talked about, Noah Anderson, picked in 1% of teams? It's a bit of a, bit of a smoky there. LDU, again, is a smoky, will be really cheap. It'll going to have to be a bit of, this will be next week if we go this way, even if I got 580 though, right? So the one player I really want who's up around that slightly higher is Lachie Neale. Yes, Lachie Neale will get a tag every once in a while, but Lachie Neale has a massive ceiling. Where is he? Dunk, his position's changed a little bit. McCluggage is all about 580, and he was the top scorer. So, he was the top point scorer there for a while. Not too sure if he still is, but, Lachie Neale is not going down in price, right? Nope. Break even of 79. It's very unlikely that he'll get a 79. If he gets 130, well, you go up 20k. 20. It was here 583 now, 22k. If say he only gets 100, he'll still go up. Take about 15k off that. He'll go up about 7k, so he'll be 590. Even if I went the other route, where if I did it this way and I got Warner here, I still couldn't afford him next week. So, let's go back to my potential midfield. Should we start can we start a list here maybe or somewhere? I don't think I have a little notepad or something. Notepad. We do have a notepad app. All right, let's have a quick look here. So the ones that with the current team, if we do these trades, this is how it looks like. The midfield looks like we got Brayshaw, we got Dacos, we got Dawson. Yeah. All right, then we don't want the red lines under there. Give us, are you still gonna, even with capitals, you still don't like it, eh? Brayshaw, Dacos, Dawson, and then the wants. That's who we have. The wants. We want, we said Merritt. We want, can you even see that? Seems tiny. Be nice if it was a bit bigger. Can't adjust the so tiny. I don't know if you guys can even read that. Merit. We want we want the Bont. The Bont. Be respectful to the Bont. We want Butters. Hey, Butters. Merritt, the Bont, Butters. So that's 6. And if we had 8, then we have our DPPs, which we're going to say it's the horny man. And for the back line, say it was who we said was going to be cheap next week, Sherlock Holmes. All right, so that would mean my team fully done would look like Whitfield, Sheasel, Zorko, Roberts, Dale, Sinclair. And the forward line would have Rankine, Smith, McRae, Daniel. Marriage, if we're keeping him, we don't know if we're keeping him or not. And Petrarca. And then here we would have Brayshaw, Dacos, Dawson, Merritt, Bont, Butters, Horny Man, and Holmes. That's what the future of my team at the moment looks like. That's who we would like. Now, the must-haves out of there, Merritt, Bont, and Butters. I mean, we really... You don't like Bailey Dale? Yeah, neither do I very much, Mikey, you have to admit. I did all the research on him, even pre-season, and then I faded him, and then he had those few games, and I got him in, and then he punished us for it. Last week, I'll do it again for all the Bailey Dale and owners this week. I'm thinking about trading him out this week. No, I'm not, but I'm telling the world. I'm putting it out there in the world that I'm thinking about trading him out because we said it last week, and he scored a 124. I also don't like the Marish still in the team as well, Mikey, I have to admit, at the end of the season. Oh, and then Flynn, obviously there's got to be someone else here besides Flynn as well. So we do need a few more. You know, we would have to have another gun here, which, I mean, assume that's going to be the best midfielder that we could possibly afford there. If we do it the way we were talking about it with the forward and with a potential primo forward and defender DPP position in these last 2 spots, they can always swing in there. So then I would be able to get the best player I could afford in whichever line I could afford it. But I'm with you, Mikey. I don't love Dale there, but I think for the moment I just have to stick with him. He's going to be a luxury trade at the end of the season. He's got a good run of grounds that he normally does well at coming up, but you know it's he has been very up and down so far. I'd much prefer if that was there's probably a stack of players, a Lockie Ash or someone like that in front of his instead of him there, but he's so cheap now as well. I think I'd really want him to go up, get a few runs on the board and go up a little bit. But did I trade nice? I think my trades are nice, but I assume you mean Bice. Sorry. Yeah, so to get in this week, I mean, they're still not confirmed at the moment. So, yeah, Bice, De Koning and Reed out for Dawson, Husway and Sherry in. So this can also look like if Flynn is dropped, meaning that Walter style, it'll automatically be I'll be keeping Flynn and I'll be keeping Bice and I'll be getting rid of Flynn. That's what's going to happen if Flynn is not named. Also, I mean, we're having big decisions here. This could be Chad Warner. And this could be not changed from De Koning, and we could potentially go from Flynn to Marshall. So here we're getting rid of 1 Primo and 2, well, we'll call Bice a rookie. He's been better than a rookie, but we'll call him a rookie. He's made us money, and he's going to be a little bit. He could potentially make another 25 to 50k if things go well, but you'd have to hold him for at least 4 to 5 weeks. Pretty much, if you're holding him this week, I think you're holding him. Your plans are, and plans obviously change if you need that money, but your plans are that you're thinking about holding him to the buy till he's buy. Yeah, like we said, so I've got 1 big dog out who can score, this is a sideways trade, and 2 rookies to get in 2 big dogs and a rookie, where potentially I could keep, potentially the other way is to go, as we said, for Warner. And update this trade. Bring him back in. Complete. Confirm. Go straight down. Take Flynn out. What's the best way to do it? We'll just go. We'll just put his name in. So once again, I think I've got all my trades sorted, and it comes down to the last moment, and I'm still not sure, to be honest. So this way, how does this look like this? So here we're getting rid of, Bice, Reed and Flynn. Basically, 3 rookies to mid prices with 2 of them potentially be able to get more money. So potentially more money to be made here. Here we're getting in a rookie and we're getting in 2 potentially primos. But they're not keeping primo. Well, he's probably not a keeping primo just because of the way the teams are set up this year. But he could be. He could go huge. Marshall could be the difference between you crushing your opponents and not. If he was to come out and, we showed this before. Last year he had a massive run of big scores. Right near the end of the season here. 123, 135, 126, 126, 146, 164 and a 169 back to back in round 9 and 10. So, I mean, it's probably Meek, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was Jackson, considering Darcy was injured a lot last year. So it's 2 big 160 scores. There's not too many players you can get who are going to have a floor of about 80 most weeks and a max of 160. Can you see my achievement out of trades? Okay. Undo all the trades. So at the beginning, this is where we looked like after last week's round. So Whitfield, Zorko, Roberts, Dale, Bice, Reed. Reed, Trainer, like we talked about. I'm not prepared to get rid of Trainer and Reed at the moment. Their money, that's $100,000 between the 2 of them over the next 2 weeks if they get just normal scores. As long as they don't get 30s and 40s, if they get like 60 plus, that's another $100,000 between them. Bice, he has kicked his cash gen in the butt a little bit. It's going to take him, just like Trainer, it's going to take him 4 weeks to start moving up. And then how far is he going to go up? Brayshaw, Dacos, Shees, Sinclair, Petrarca, Ashcroft, Hewitt, Lindsay. We really concentrated earlier this season getting the back line sorted, which, as you can see, we've got Shees, and we had to put Shees and Sinclair in the midfield because the back line rookies were doing so well. Then we got Gawn and DeGoning, which we've had since the beginning of the season. That's our beginning picks. Rankine, Smith, McRae, Daniel, Marich, Cleary with Flynn in flex. So that's with the no trade. So the easy trade for me is always, Murphy Reid has to go. 90 break even. He's made us a nice little bit of cash. We don't want to lose any more cash on him. So, we could be super conservative and we could do just one trade this week. But we really want to get some rookies off the field. We really want to get potential, the potential for our team to get a big score and to climb further up the ranks. And so with my rank, I really want to maximise my score. And this week, I think it's either, for my team, it's vice-captain. If I was to keep the team like this without Sherry, vice-captain on Brayshaw or Dacos into Gawn. I just think that's the safest way. They're just the safest. Brayshaw might come back. He's at home. I'm just thinking, what if Freo don't come back and Collingwood smash them, and they got smashed last week, so what if Collingwood smash them again this week? Dacos may run riot. Will they send somebody to him? Do Freo have a set tagger? They don't have a scary Bedford or Jones or someone, but it doesn't mean that they might not have a go at a tag. They don't have Hayden Young, which Hayden Young is a defensive midfielder, and he might have been the one on Dacos. Big body boy, he might have been the one bustling Dacos around. Without him, you're not going to use Caleb Sarong or Brayshaw on Dacos to slow him down. They're both your offence. They're your weapons. You're not going to use your weapons on him. So I've got a feeling that Dacos might just run a bit right. If I had Sherry, I'd be going, I think Gawn plays first, Gawn into Sherry, and that's just the way, that's the big advantage of me doing that trade. So as you can see, my big dilemmas are, do we get rid of Bice and Flynn? And for that, we can get Jordan and Warner. Could we do Jordan? Or we could get Marshall. I guess we could get Jordan. We could probably get Jordan and Warner as well. Who can we afford if we get rid of you and you? Warner, 490. So I've only got 490 left if I do that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, Mikey. I'm thinking that, what do we say? We were 600 to 700 points. I think just under 700 points behind number one. My best position ever, 1 year, a few years back. I've had a couple of rough years the last few years, especially in my leagues, but in overall score as well. But a few years back, I got inside the top 200 after the buys, and then unfortunately we were ravaged by injuries and a lack of trades, and we ended up outside the top 1,000. But coming out of the buys, if you're in the top 1,000 and less than about 400 or 500 points away from first coming out of the buys, you got a chance. You know, with a few moves and a bit of trading stuff, you have a chance. Now, I'm always divided that I don't expect to win. We would all like to win Supercoach and win the 50k. I don't expect to win, and I think it's not, even though it's achievable from where I am, it's not super easy from where I am. So, but I really want to win my leagues. So until I'm out of getting first, until that's out of the question completely, I guess I have to put that on the back burner. But, I mean, there's great bragging rights for coming first. There's not 50K and there's not 2K for your weekly scores. But, there is a chance that you're going to win your leagues. And hopefully, since I'm here streaming with you guys, hopefully I can have a good year. All right, good luck with that, Mikey. All the best. Thank you so much for dropping by. And if you've already given me a thumbs up and a follow and a subscribe, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Been enjoying chatting to you. I really hope the three-headed dragon works for you. I think it could be, if all three of them start going off, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome to see if, and you don't have to worry about other people smacking that Gorn vice captain on you every week. And I'd be highly advised with your captain, vice cap, just V and C them both every week. To do it, lock it in, make sure you've got someone you can get on the field. Like, I'm lucky this week, a few people might struggle, but I've got Patton down here I can get on the field. Sydney don't play till later on and so I can manage to get them on smacking the Gorn. Yep, that's correct. Gorn does a lot of the smacking. Not many people smack Gorn. Gorn does most of the smacking. He's a big boy. I think he's the sixth tallest player in the AFL, like 208 centimetres. He's a monster. He is a monster. But thank you for being here, Mikey. I really appreciate you and your chat and helping me out. And I hope I helped you out a little bit as well. All right. 490, there's no one we want at 490. Let's just face this week, the only thing... 490 would be Chad Warner. So here we would get Chad Warner. We would have... he's already got Warner. We already got Chad Warner there. There's no one else at 490. I mean, Max Holmes is going to go down. Yeah, I don't think that's the way to go. I think if we go... Sherry, and then 529 gives us exactly enough for Dawson. And I think after talking to Joshua, I'm really divided between Warner and Dawson. I was really divided between Warner and Petrarca last week. Even though Warner scored 10 points more, I don't think I made a mistake by getting Petrarca. I still like him. I think his role is safer. And I think we're going to the exact same thing. I think Jordan Dawson's role is safer. Are we not? Why are we not seeing? That's why we cannot see him. I think Jordan Dawson's role is safer. This might be my move, Mikey. All the best if you've headed off. Thanks for the chat. I really appreciate everyone who's chatted today. The two Joshuas, Shawshank and the Mikey. You are goddamn legends, and I appreciate you being here. How long's the video been? It's probably been going for a while now, right? I think we will give up now. It's been a long time. We've been dribbling on, and I really appreciate everyone being here. Thank you for helping me out with my trades. This is what they look like at the moment. So what is the Supercoach thing exactly, Power? So it's just, it's the same as you would have fantasy football for NFL or ice hockey or basketball. It's just fantasy football, but for our football, for Australian rules football. And, I mean, not only do I love my Australian rules football and talking about it and playing fantasy and trying to beat my friends, but the prizes are pretty good too. It's free to enter. Yes, you heard it. It's free. First prize, $50,000. If you get the highest score in a week, which is another thing of having Sherry in my team, I could potentially get the highest score in a week. If both these guys get 200, 2K if you get the highest score of the week, and 50k if you win it, the entire thing, Powers. So for free. So not only do I love doing it, one year we might actually be able to win something. Actually, I tell the story a little bit that one year I had the even highest score of the round. So I was like, $1,000. Then it was $1,000. I was like, $1,000 for Shauno. And then I found out that someone else had the exact same score. We both had the top scores of the season, and by whatever the way they judged it, I think they went on total score for the season. The guy had slightly, he had a slightly higher score than me for overall, and so he got the $1,000 and I got nothing, which didn't seem very fair to me, but yeah, that's the way it goes. So yeah, that's Supercoach, all based on the game you see there in the little pic there. Our AFL, my favourite sport to watch. I wouldn't say play, getting a bit old to get crunched these days. Damn. Yep, but 50k, mate, 50k for first. So a lot of people take it very seriously, and I'll take the 2k for the round win as well. Coming up during the buys, it only takes the top 18 players. So if you've got 18 guns on the field in 1 week, in one time, you've got a good, you've got a chance of winning that, the 2K. Maybe that's your plan, right, crew? Maybe you've had the shit season. You're in 120,000 spot and everything's gone wrong. Just try and get as many primos on the field as you can for the round 18 buys. Maybe you'll win the 2K. I mean, if you've got, please don't do this, but if you have like 4 non-playing players or whatever on your field, just your top 18 players include Bont and Butters, you might win the 2K. You might change your preference. You might be like, hey, I'm obviously not going to win my leagues. I'm obviously not going to win Supercoach. Maybe I'm just try and win 2K. Anyway, good to see you, Powers. Good to see you, Mikey. Good to see you, Joshua. That's been a long video. I don't think anyone's going to be rewatching this video. So we're going to head off today, and hope you all have a very good Thursday. Keep an eye out for those team sheets tonight. Watch out for Erasmus if you're going for him early, or your other early rookies that they're named and hopefully named on the field. At least with Erasmus, you'll get to see if he's a sub or not tonight. Really keep... I think if I was you guys, I wouldn't be going early on anyone. It looks like we're going to have some reasonable choices in the next week or two, potentially for downgrades. So don't punish yourself by getting a rookie that looks like they might not make any money. Just wait. And hope you're all doing well and you have a great day, and I'll speak to you all soon.